most of the time. There are always one or two that don't work. The DMT flashes have different strengths in the darkroom. More gradual or fully Klein bottle that's a 4-dimensional Mobius strip, where a cook could not understand the new physics. On the 9th day, after eating Nutella constantly in the darkroom, was speaking quantum foam and constantly beholding the hyper-geometries of 4-dimensional Mobius strips or Klein bottles, a topological 4-dimensional space of Mobius that unifies the subjective, the objective, and the space in which it is as a single surface and beyond. On the 10th to the 12th day, in endohuasca experiments, other molecules switch on, which are, we believe at present, related to agmatine. They are more of the class that we know in chemistry through the psychedelic anesthetics, which also produce near-death experiences. There are the darkroom blues, but you have a 2-week period afterwards where you continue having your higher brain states. The strongest effects happen when you come out during the night. You see reality being constructed. You see the visual hologram being constructed. Your own consciousness interaction with the creation, or watching your nervous system recreate the visual hologram, can be very, very life-changing and significant. You will have seen it also in some ayahuasca sessions. So this can continue in the research where I think it's still legal to have 4 or 5 people locked up in darkness. You write the legal things. Statements that you're not going to kill yourself, you're just doing some Buddhistic practice, some meditation or something like that. If it's more than 10 people in Europe, most of the time that's illegal now. So dark rooms, endohuasca is part of the future, but it's part of the archaic past. The shamans of the Mahasiddhis in India, the rishis, the somapas of the Vedas, even the gods that drank soma, the Marutas, the Adatyas, the Rudras, would combine plants with darkroom practice. It's part of an arcane secret tradition. So, in terms of the leukemia, pinoline and harmine and harmaline have a nucleomagnetic resonance of 8 cycles per second, and 8 cycles per second is the frequency that all healers release. The molecular structure of pinoline and harmine has been now overwhelmingly established to have superior binding to the double helix of the DNA and to donate electrons, very much like vitamin C does to the base pairs, and instigate mitosis, according to other studies. This is actually part of a 98 slideshow. I don't know how we're going to go through it all, so we'll just skip over some. Get the basic idea. So astonishment. So in the Vedas, the plants of shamanism, which go back to at least 11,000 years in the Sarasvati Valley culture, which is before the Indus Valley culture, archaeological sites like Kalibangan in Rajasthan, where we've been, and Mirgaka in Pakistan, 11,000 years old, official archaeological records show, and it's stated in the New Delhi Museum. They have tetrahedrons, they have complex mathematics, they are clearly the precursors of some of the Sumerian mythos and ideas and structures. One thing we've done in our book, Shoemaker Conspiracy, is show that the Anunnaki of the Sumerians are plant gods. Their names are botanical plant gods. And those plants, when ingested, connect one to those god intelligences within the plants and beyond. Hadronic mechanics is, we believe, the revolutionary science that unifies the idea of the unified field object or UFO, that unifies shamanism, that unifies the metamorphoses, the somagenesis of our nervous system, and provides ways of cleaning our environment. Pioneered still today by an embodiment of Tesla and Einstein and Edison at the same time, Dr. Rogero Santilli, who has demonstrated objectively that we do not know what our body is made of because we had no mathematics to make devices to see what the living DNA was made of. When we do have the mathematics, which he invented 70 levels of mathematics that unifies all possible levels of mathematics, past, present, and future, and makes them practical. Within 6 months, he made a device that dealt with the inner problem of physics, never dealt with before in any other scientific branch, and made a plasma arc flow reactor which simulates the lightning storms of Earth. Again, an inner problem of physics that has not been adequately explained by Einsteinian mechanics or by quantum mechanics. When the plasma arc flow was created, a new material was created, where the normal configuration of electrons was collapsed into a flat state, where two electrons go into body temperature superconductors, not really cold superconductors that you can only have in advanced tech, but body temperature superconductors. Not only that, ultra high temperature superconductors, like in the sun. This revolutionizes everything. On a practical level, you take benzene, put it through the plasma arc flow, collapse the Heisenberg uncertainty principle sphere of the electrons, so that the electrons couple into iso units, into the hadronic horizon. You get 5,000 times more energy, no pollution, put out oxygen and nitrogen. Dr. Santilli would have applied this to the Gulf spill because that is the ideal medium, salt water and oil, to produce magna gas that would have powered America for 10 to 12 years. Magnagoals.com, magnagas.com. I am not an agent of any form from any secret society or scientific societies. It's just out there because the psychedelic entheogenic revolution dramatically changes by hadronic mechanics. Dr. Santilli has identified the molecular binding force, that mystery force that keeps the elegance of those two hexagons of Harmala so nicely together with its central pentagram. The molecular binding force has now been established to be the hadronic fifth nuclear force. According to quantum mechanics, the magna gas that is produced by the plasma arc flow is impossible because the mathematics of quantum mechanics can only deal with single potentials. It cannot deal with light. Quantum mechanics is toilet paper. It's a special exception in the analysis of things. That is not a popular statement, but we have to grow up with it. Again, we are speaking non-dogmatically. Question everything, every medium. This is our way of expressing. So, the molecular binding force, as the hadronic force, is a force that goes through the hadronic horizon, 10 to the minus 13 of a centimeter, which is hyperdense. It's a hyperdense medium where the 7 hadrons overlap through infinite recursion. That means you get a recursion mirror to mirror to mirror through infinity, pentagon to pentagon to pentagon, through infinity. If you try to reduce them by the Minkowskian space-time metric unit or the iso-Minkowskian space-time unit, the Riemann unit is not valid anymore, which Einstein used. The result of the hadrons is zero potential. In other words, what binds our mind or any drug together is a force that is hyperlocal. That means it is everywhere. You go into the hadronic horizon, you go into a density that is infinitely recursive, that is physically one in the heart of every single atom. It is hypertemporal, past, present, and future at the same time, having non-linear dynamics. It is hyperspatial. So in other words, suddenly drugs are no longer drugs. By hadronic mechanics, they start to become large hadronic collider experiments on a natural level. Because when they are active, when they intercalate with the DNA and create replication in the DNA, and the key trigger 8 cycles per second of DNA replication, we're talking about genetic revelation, genetic revolution. I'm getting a bit carried away. On a more simple level, melatonin's well-known antioxidant relative phenylalanine, which is the sister of harmine, 6-tetrahydrocarbamide, has a greater antioxidant capacity on lipid peroxidation than melatonin, 7 times more than melatonin. The phenylalanine is superior antioxidant. This is the molecule produced in the pineal gland, the third eye. This is what you produce when you have dreams. So dream yoga, lucid dreams, the Anuttara Tantra practices of the Dzogchen Buddhists, the 33rd path, are all related to using this molecule. And the unification of the 4 bandwidths of consciousness, the alpha wave, 8 cycles, the theta wave, together with a beta wave, theta being the dream state, the beta, the awakened state, and the delta, the deep unconscious, to be unified. That's the idea of the future shamanism. We also believe that the so-called disclosure process of humanity with a larger intelligence involves a neuro-renaissance, and until that neuro-renaissance is not set in motion, well, it is being set in motion in this conference and similar conferences, but as we progress with that, so does the disclosure projects. The disclosure beyond the veil become more apparent, because what we're interacting with is truly ourselves in an other holographic or hyper-holographic regurgitation. So, vitamin C or phenylalanine. If you dream properly, have proper darkness, do your dark rooms, you're producing a superior antioxidant, as well as the 8 herbs that is known to emanate from you. Pineal power. This is brain sex. It needs sex education. Just as we produce babies by genital sex, brain sex produces genetic results. We're going to go now to Tutmosis III. We're going to present some remarkable pictures that show the Egyptian mysteries had their own ayahuasca plants. First, we go into the general focus on Tutmosis III. Shaman, contactee. It's said that Tutmosis III, the great-grandfather of Akhenaten, the revolutionary, when he was standing as a priest in the Sphinx